Hi.
Woohoo! Oh, so where are you coming in from now, Joe? Where in
Um,
Asia are you?
yeah, we're in Hoi An in Vietnam. We've
Nice.
been here on and off for about 6 months now. Um,
Right.
so yeah, we've been traveling full time for just over a year as a
Yes,
family.
yeah.
Yeah,
Incredible. It's such the
yeah.
best feeling, isn't it? The same for me and my family. It's we've just hit a year's anniversary, just this long weekend gone. But we're traveling around Australia in our caravan, so a little bit different to your world schooling adventure, but yeah, incredible nonetheless. And it's just such an amazing experience having this time together as a family and just getting out of that, yeah, that Groundhog Day. Yeah, so I had left my old corporate sales role when I got pregnant with my son. So that is like more than 6 years ago now, 6.5 years ago. And I knew from that moment that I couldn't go back into that. I didn't like vibe with the idea of putting him in daycare at 12 months. It just felt very wrong, instinctively. So in that, first year, I tried to come up with ideas. I set up an Etsy store and I was crafting things because I've always loved crafting and being really creative. But the time when I extended my maternity leave by another year, and at the end of that, I still hadn't found something that would stick, and I still hadn't created a business that, was going to take me forward. So I ended up going back to my old employer on a contract, whilst I was then pregnant with my second child. So, and then through that time, I just like, there was no way that I was going to go back into that. Like he went into daycare part time and it felt really wrong. I hated it. Like there was always crying, me and him. And it just felt so wrong that I was later in life having children. And I just thought I haven't waited all of this time just to palm them off into the care of other people. Like I really want to be there for my children.
Yeah.
And, like all these other things were sort of like coming up and a lot of awakenings. And I then started questioning like literally everything, the medical system, the school system. And I thought like, I don't want to be putting my children into school. I think I'd much rather homeschool. So I absolutely need to find a way that I can create income whilst being at home with them because I'm just not entertaining the idea of that system. So I had my daughter at home unassisted, like a complete free birth, and it just changed me. Like I was a completely changed woman after that, and I just could not in any way go back to what I had been doing, who I was, my old beliefs, and that sort of thing. So that's where this was then born from. Like I had a few more attempts, failed attempts at businesses like women's circles and then subscription boxes, but it was all just really overwhelming with two small children, like a pretty new baby. And I knew that I needed something that wasn't going to require so much of my involvement, so much of me like creating it all from scratch, of all of the input being me and logistics and like shipping of things. Like it just wasn't going to work. So I needed to find something that was more online where I could still focus on my passions, but I wasn't, having to try and set up websites and stuff because it's not really, that's not my jam. It's really not.
I can relate.
Oh,
I've had so many businesses and side hustles over the years. I've done e-commerce, had various websites, done a bit of Amazon influencing, all sorts of different things, but none of them really. They were just like, yeah, too much hard work for the amount of return I got at the end of the day. So,
it's so that like you pour your heart and soul into these offers and then at the end of it it's just pocket money and it's
yeah.
just kind of like what am I doing? Like if something is taking me so many hours and taking me away from my children still because you're not able to be fully present with them when you're trying to do all of this,
Yeah.
or ending up exhausted because I was working really late into the night trying to set things up, that you really want to be compensated for that. So
Mm.
as opposed to just being left with, yeah, a little bit of like cute spending money, but nothing that was ever going to really grow and take off to replace an income.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so then for you, like it's obviously a huge change, like going from corporate and being full time to then just like,
Yeah.
yeah, switching and world schooling. Like that's pretty incredible. I feel like I had a bit of a slower, sort of like step into it, but
Yeah. we had 3 months before we left, or I was just, it was a full-time job selling everything on
Yeah.
Marketplace and Facebook and eBay and Vinted and all sorts. Um, yeah, so that was a full-time job, but I
Mm,
say it's been a big transition, and I thought I would I'd be like investing a lot of time and energy into like, like the technical stuff and the
mm,
sales and training on that side, but actually I've had to do a lot of inner work. It's like been unpeeling the onion layer as I've, just lots of things have come to the forefront as I've stepped back from like normal life, things that I was probably hiding from before.
mm. And I love what you said there about the inner work, because definitely for me that has been a huge journey, and it
Yeah,
very much is that personal inner work journey. And when you have, healed and resolved a lot of things within yourself, that then things start flowing. So,
yeah,
and you can try and push as much as you like beforehand, but until you have addressed everything inside, then you kind of like throwing spaghetti at a wall. But
yeah,
then once you've, yeah, regulated your nervous system and dealt with your, past traumas, because there's all these things from our past that all show up in ways, and it's easier to hide from them, sort of in a job. It's easier to hide because you just go in and you do your thing. But as an entrepreneur, you're really faced with all of this, and that's a really, really big journey, but it's such an incredibly empowering one,
yeah,
I find. And it's just, yeah, like I look at the difference in me within a couple of years, and the growth is just huge. Like I'm so like steadfast in speaking my truth now, whereas before I would like water things down, and I would think, oh my gosh, I don't want to offend somebody with that, like I better not say exactly what I think, because people might get offended and turn away. But now I'm so confident in saying exactly what I feel, and knowing that those who resonate with you are then magnetized towards you. And it's great that the other ones walk away and turn away or unfollow, sort of thing, because if they're not your tribe, then, it was never going
yeah,
to work anyway. So yeah, to have that and feel really confident and comfortable. And I love all that, sort of within our business community, all of the, sort of like self-learning, but a lot of inner work stuff, and a lot of community connection is all about, finding that personal power and that ability to really stand in your truth. So, and
yeah.
I love that we
It's
all get to do business like our own way. There isn't like a template that you must follow this and you must show up like this and you must do these things. Like it's a really, really individual thing, and we can all build businesses in ways that suit us.
Yeah, definitely,
So,
definitely. We talked about that earlier. You've got to find a way that works for you, and you've got to be in your right energy and your right space. Otherwise, you're not going to come across as like your authentic self.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, yeah. You like don't get caught in the comparison trap where you start comparing yourself to other people, because that's not you. That's someone else, and they're all in a different path and a different part of their journey. And um, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
you can't just copy and paste what other people are doing, because it's it right with you energetically.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And always not looking at somebody who is, sort of like steps ahead of you. Because I think in the beginning, before I started this business, I just used to think like, oh my gosh, but there are so many people out there that are so much further ahead, and they've been doing this for longer. Why would somebody decide to work with me? But the thing is, it's like people are just looking for who they resonate with. People are looking for someone that they would love to do life, do business with, sort of thing. It's not always the person that is so far ahead and has all of the experience. It's just being able to relate to somebody, to be able to find that
Yeah,
connection. And it's literally like who's 2 steps ahead, because we're all on different journeys. Everybody's at a different point. So that for somebody, I think, that is looking at starting an online business but thinks, oh, I don't know how, it's just what is the next practical step? Like, what is the next breadcrumb kind of thing to follow? And where will that take me, as opposed to thinking you have to have everything all figured out in the beginning. You have to be
Yeah.
at the same level and up to speed as people who have been in this space for like years.
You know, this business obviously it's flexible. How do you
Yeah.
fit that around? You've got
Yes.
quite young, as I was saying, I've got a 4-year-old, which is bags of energy. Like, how do you,
Yes.
you know, building a business and growing a business around your kids
Mm.
and your
So for me, like I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. I always wake up before them. Thankfully, they're not really early morning risers. So I do my morning routine. I do a lot of inner work, breath work, some meditation, like my general devotions in the morning, so that then I am set and I feel great within myself. I will then, sort of like respond to inquiries that have come in throughout the night. I generally will have like content already pre-prepared that I've like done the night before, and then I might just post something, and then I go offline for a few hours because, when they wake up, I, want to be able to have a nice slow morning, prepare their breakfast. We'll go out, whatever activities we have for that day, and like really spend that time with them. And then I might check in again on my phone, sort of in the afternoon, but there's no sort of like real blocks where I'm like requiring hours of my attention at that point in time. It's just sort of like, a half an hour sort of block here if they're doing some learning and or they're occupied playing, that sort of thing. And then maybe another half an hour block later. And then once they've then gone to bed, that's when I do a bit of extra work, because for me, I have like creative surges in the evenings. And I think as women, like we always love that time to ourselves, like when the children are asleep and then even my partner is asleep earlier, like just having that space to yourself to really like connect in with you when nobody else needs you, and it's nice and quiet. And yeah, it's that time of the evening, and then I'll like just get through loads of things then. And that's where like all of my creation comes in, like any sort of content creation. Otherwise, like I'll catch things on the fly during the day, but I don't spend hours focused on working throughout the day.
yeah, I can relate to that. I'm the most productive in the evening when the little one's
Mm.
in bed, and I just crack on. And sometimes I'm like, oh, is it 11 o'clock already? I have to sort of
Yeah.
shut myself. But
But when you're doing something that you genuinely love, it just time does disappear. And you're just there like, oh wow, like okay, I've just lost 2 hours there, but look at what I've like, look at what I've done. Or you'll create something and get so far into it that it doesn't feel like work. That's the best thing about it. 'Cause, like I just think back to my old days in corporate, like commercial real estate sales, and I would be sitting at that desk just thinking, I cannot wait to get out of here. Like I don't like these people that I'm surrounded with. I'm in this great office. This just is not what I want to be doing. I don't want to be creating all of these reports and that sort of thing. And it was just like really watching the time tick by and watching the clock until it was time that I could actually get out. And I just think how I was ever going to spend time like that for the rest of my life, there just wasn't a chance.
it's
Like there.
crazy. I've never well, I think there's maybe been a handful of jobs that I didn't really particularly like, but I'm fortunate in that I always kind of enjoyed my work to a certain extent, but I just wanted more from life. You know, it just wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But there's so many women out there and men who are in jobs that they just don't like, and they're clock watching, and it's just, so life's too short. Like you get one life, or just don't settle for less, and don't accept that this is the only choice you have in life.
Mm.
Because it isn't.
So, yeah, what
Or
would
I
you
wish.
say? Yeah, like for anyone that has been like thinking of the idea, or, has been having questions, what is the one bit of advice that you would give to them?
One bit of advice: don't wait till you've got all your ducks in a row. Don't wait for all these, like, don't wait for everything, the time to be right. Um, because you're just making excuses, let's face it, you know, like
Mm,
just
mm,
just make one step in that direction, one small step, you know, and that might be just chatting to one of us. Our
mm,
inboxes are always open, I'm sure. Um, you know, surround yourself. Yes, probably two things. Make sure you surround yourself in people in that place that you desire. So,
mm,
you know, like people who've built a successful online business, you know, people who are already in the process of, you know, being where you are, because, you know, you will get a lot of people, possibly friends and family, who will be worried about you, who will be a bit
mhm.
negative about, you know, potentially stepping out of the system or wherever you're at. And it's important to have, you know, surround yourself with like-minded people, really.
100%. You don't take
And
directions from people who haven't been to where you're going. So I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah,
that's a very, very, very important, yeah, important piece because
yeah,
when people don't understand something, when people haven't had that experience themselves, out of love for you
yeah,
and want to, protect you, they can often, try and talk you out of doing something just because it is so radically different. So I think just trust in your heart and what you really feel is true for you. And if that's the dream that you have, that you want a life that is more than what you've currently been living, then just follow it and just take that next aligned action because you'll wake up one
yeah,
day and you'll actually
definitely,
be living that reality that you had once dreamed of.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Oh, incredible.
So,
Well, I love this chat. It was so
thank
wonderful,
you.
Joe. Thank you. And yeah, for anyone out there
Um,
that does have questions and is thinking about creating more freedom, more flexibility, and a life that really feels truer to you, like reach out to either of us, and I'm more than happy to,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely,
to step you
yeah,
through and show you what's possible.
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Incredible.
Always up for that.
Amazing. Well,
All right.
enjoy the rest of your afternoon. It looks lovely and sunny there.
Evening. Yeah.
So yeah, we're on 8 o'clock now. So but it's all good. It's still very nice and warm. North Queensland is a brilliant little
Vibes.
spot. Big
And
love to everybody.
yeah.
See
Bye.
you.